Hey Lego fans, it's Jang here from jangbricks.com with another 2014 Lego City set review. This is set number 60059 and it's called the Logging Truck. Comes with 228 pieces and you see you indeed get a logging truck here. This is a hauler with a arm on the back and you get a couple logs, a couple small trees, and a couple of minifigs. Let's focus on the truck since that's what the set is really mostly about. And one of the first things that I noticed here is that, well, other than the fact that it has a freaking arm on the back that you can play with, well, let's just look at that right now, shall we? Rotates around, good. The hand part itself, the arm, the grabber, the claws, they rotate around freely, very nice. These individual fingers of the claw can open up and they can individually close up. You can really grab some fairly small things. Oops, there we go. Got the ability to articulate here at the kind of at the, you might call that a wrist joint. That actually allows you to move it out straight. That's a surprise. Look at that, a little bit of a reaching forward kind of thing. I like that. Get that come back down. You see, it just kind of hangs properly the way that the real ones do. You've got articulation here. You've got articulation here, so you can bring this thing up. You can stretch it out. Pretty much the farthest you can bring it in is right there, and you don't really want to get it any closer than that because it'll start to grab you. That's the operator's seat right there with a couple of levers. You know, this thing has great range of motion. It has a cool little building technique that they used here to get that very stable base for the arm. Simple, small number of pieces, but well done. Down here at the base where it's rotating, they use one of the, I believe, new pieces for 2014. It's a tile, a 2x2 by 1/3 high tile with a Technic sized pin hole in the middle of it. Now this is pretty secure in there, so I'm not going to take the whole thing off to show you the part, but it's worth checking out the parts lists, places like brickset.com or Piron or anywhere you can take a look at the instructions also. So that's a nice compact little build to get a whole lot of ability to do stuff, you know. And as for grabbing the logs, I'll just go ahead and bring the logs into play now. These are pretty straightforward. It's nice that rather than just going with the normal round style of just stacking a whole bunch of these on top of each other, they actually gave you some limbs here, just little bits of limbs. However, these do have the Technic axles in the middle of them. It makes it a little bit harder to chop these things up. So previous logs that they've offered, have been easy to chop off by just knocking these things off. But here you've got the pin in the middle. It makes it a little bit harder. Personally, I would recommend not including the pin in there, excuse me, the axle down the middle, just to make it so that you can more easily change the size of these pieces. They'll still stay together. But the real thing that I wanted to show you here was picking one of these up. There we go. Let's get that down on there. Grab that in, and I didn't really have to balance anything out. You know, it's holding itself in place. You just lift that right on up, rotate it around, and just make sure that it kind of rotates in. There, you know, you be a little bit more careful, but ultimately you're just trying to get it into the main area on the truck. And this part is really straightforward and easy because they've got end plates that hold it in from either end, and you just drop that in place, get the arm out of the way. That's going to stay in there nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. Get the other log in there. It kind of stacks up depending upon how you do it, or you can get them side by side as long as the limbs aren't kind of overlapping. And then you can also put more on top of here. And then they've got these chain pieces that come across the top to make sure it's fully secure. Put those down, and then you can rest your arm, your grabber arm, just on top of it. Honestly, that part of kind of balancing it on top doesn't work out all that well. There are only a couple of orientations where it will stay in place, and ultimately, even there, so you just started trying to fall off to the side. So that's a little bit awkward because there's no friction back here in this rotation joint. So what I like to do with this instead, just straighten out the arm all the way. Kind of do like that. Now it's kind of resting right here. So even though that's still, you know, freely, it's a ball joint, so stuff is able to kind of wiggle around. It's a little bit harder for it to get away from you. This thing has nice detailing all around. You know, it's got a pretty consistent level of texture on the the truck itself. I like the fact that they use these extra long tiles on the sides of the fuel tanks. It's just something different about it, I guess. It just strikes me well. And I also very much appreciate the steps that they tried to include here for getting up to the cab. So you open the door, and then those are just going to help your operator and or passenger to get in there. However, you're really not going to fit a passenger in there. Well, I guess that kind of works. It's pretty cramped in there, but technically they do fit. You got a nice guard on the top, kind of grill to protect the top of the cab, so if the operator back here doesn't quite perfectly judge the end of one of these pieces of timber and drops it on the cab, it's not going to do damage to the thing. Kind of works a little bit like a roll cage kind of protection. Oops, that wasn't supposed to come off. So there's a learning right there. If you want to take off the roof, don't grab it from here. Grab it from underneath. And that's how you get into the compartment to put your driver in there. No actual seat, he just kind of sits on the floor. It's a little bit awkward, but it's okay. It works out fine, you know. He still has his steering wheel and the all-important mug for coffee. Here's just another look at it, a little different angle, just so you can see a little bit more of the design of the cab and how it looks from the front. Also with that offset license plate. It's all part of one sticker that goes all the way across here. Still looks pretty good. It's a little bit different than what we've seen. Not too different structurally, but the end result is a slightly different look. The minifigs use what I believe are all existing parts, minor and just regular town folk pieces. The most interesting things here are the use of sand blue pants over on that side, not the most common color. And then you've got this nice chainsaw. That's very well done. Looks really good in orange. I think I've seen it with that same build before in yellow, but and also I think probably a gray or combination, but in orange looks exceptionally good, like a steel or a Husqvarna or something like that. I'm not sure which brand they're going for, but here's just a look at the backs of the torsos. You can see one of them does have a print that goes around to the back, and neither of them have alternate faces. Finally, with this set, they do give you two of their very smallest trees, little cone-shaped conifer trees. The very smallest ones, they work nicely for small, humble, inside the house Christmas trees. But in this case, they're just young saplings. So presumably after you cut down a couple of trees, you want to replant. So you put these in as seedlings to make sure that your forestry operations are sustainable. Oh, very last thing to point out, little clip on one side for your shovel. Probably should have put that up a little bit higher. Little clip on the other side for your chainsaw. So you got places for everything. I like it. I think that this is going to go especially well with sets and components from the Forest Police series that as of the time of this video, it's kind of outgoing, but I'm sure that plenty of folks have those sets and the vehicles and structures and things that kind of came with that series. So this is really going to fit in well with those. And even for folks who don't have those, I mean, you've got a robot arm with a hand and a grabber on the back of a truck. That's cool. You can use this for things other than just logging, but still, I think it's a cool thing. I'm glad that they gave us something a little bit different. It's not just the usual police and fire and stuff. This is well done, nice amount of detail, good playability. I appreciate it. I think this is a good one. Has some good building techniques used in there too, good for educational purposes. So that's it for my review of this one, set number 60059. Be sure to stay tuned for more reviews to come. And if you've missed anything, be sure to check all the playlists on my channel. You can easily browse through old stuff at jangbricks.com, where you can also stay on top of the very latest updates and see all of my custom stuff and watch for updates to my whole Lego city. Have fun watching and building, and I'll talk to you again soon.